New details tonight about charges against a man who investigators say faked his own death to avoid facing statutory rape charges.
Melvin MD is now behind bars after he was caught by Georgia State Patrol on Sunday. Investigators had concluded he staged a drowning in Louisiana, so law enforcement was looking for him. WECT's Ashley Balsavius looked through the court documents WECT received today and has more details about the charges MD faces. What did you find out, Ashley?
Fran, MD faces several charges in Brunswick County for sex crimes, all against children under the age of 10. Some of those charges include indecent liberties with a child and statutory rape. We have records saying he waived the right to counsel and chose to defend himself. He got out of jail this past April on a $50,000 bond. He was supposed to appear in Brunswick County Court last month, but he never showed up. At first, it was believed he drowned while kayaking in Louisiana, but then it got suspicious. He was found in Georgia earlier this week, and investigators say he was using a fake name. The sheriff's department in St. Charles Parish, where MD is believed to have faked his death, released the following statement. It says, quote, "We immediately became quite suspicious that this may have been a faked accidental drowning and death in order for Mr. MD to escape charges in Brunswick County, North Carolina. However, we could not publicly expose our suspicions for fear of tipping him off. Now it's time for Mr. MD to face the music for his charges in North Carolina." Now, District Attorney John David told me today they are still determining what offenses MD will face for missing his court date. And MD will be brought back to North Carolina October 3rd.
All right, Ashley Balsavius reporting tonight. Thank you, Ashley, for that update.